So I'm here at the Hippodrome Theatre, Birmingham, in the dressing room with Dawson Chance. Dawson Chance is in this production. He plays, actually plays my father, the Baron Hardup. That's right.
I do. That's right.
The Baron Hardup. And
yes.
but you're not alone on stage, are you, Dawson?
No, I'm not. No, I've got my right-hand man, Willie.
Willie the turtle.
The turtle.
And this would be our... How many pantos have we done together?
I reckon about 8.
About 8 pantos together.
Pantos.
And that goes back quite a while, doesn't it?
Yes, well, at least 8 years.
Yeah, I can certainly remember
yes.
doing, we did Cardiff.
We did.
And we took the show to Leeds.
That's right.
So we did 2 pantos in 1 year.
Yes, that's right. That was a strange situation, that, wasn't it?
It was odd, that was.
Was that because the Grand Theatre Leeds had a gap? But
it had opera in.
Oh, that's what it was.
And then
right.
they had a gap. I think we went to Leeds and we did the pantomime for 2 weeks. Or
yeah, we did. It was 2 weeks. Yeah, that's
that
right.
Was great fun. Now you must have done many pantomimes.
Yes.
What can you remember of as a child? What pantomimes did you actually see?
Right. The first one I remember seeing was at the Winter Gardens at Bournemouth, and that was with Billy Burden, the yokel comedian,
right.
Billy Burden, and I thought that was fantastic. I was very young when my mum took me to see that, and there was a wonderful slapstick scene where they pour water down the front of the trousers, the funnel bit. Funnel bit.
I actually have a Billy Burden story. I did a show that was 2 shows a day of a children's show in the daytime and a show in the evening with Billy Burden. So I was doing all 3 shows a day.
Right.
Billy was only in the evening show. We had a call over the tannoy to say, you know, what time the matinee was. I got there and we were doing Hansel and Gretel and Billy Burden standing in the wings, fully made up as a yokel. And I said, "Oh, Billy, you've actually got the wrong show. You're not on till 7:30 tonight." Oh, and I finished the second show.
Yes.
That was about 5 o'clock. Billy's still sitting in the green room in full makeup. And I said, "Why didn't you go home?" He said, "Oh, his makeup costs a lot of money."
Oh, he's a man close to my heart.
Billy. So that was your first memory.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that since you saw it at Bournemouth, were you born somewhere in Bournemouth?
I was born in Welwyn Garden City, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but my parents moved down to the south because grandparents lived at Salisbury. Well, a place called West Grimstead, actually, which is near Salisbury, Wiltshire. So I was brought up in that area, and that's how we sort of went to see.
I see. I never knew that.
Ah, right. Yes.
So when you go into the business, I'm assuming, what sort of route did you go through to get to do pantomime?
It was via the variety side. It was starting at Butland's as a redcoat, so many did, learning my trade there, getting an act together, going on the Northern Club circuit.
Oh, that must have been.
Yes, that was. God,
must have learnt a lot.
It was sort of towards the end of the great days of the circuit. Of course, here we are in Birmingham, and close to us used to be the La Dolce Vita Club. The series of those around Great Britain, and then I ended up did a summer season at Newquay. Ronnie Brandon, Dickie Pounds, they had Roy Hudd that they actually
so that was presumably music hall.
And that was music hall. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I was lucky enough to take part in sketches, and they were very kind. I mean, taught me a lot there. Actually,
and then you're ready now for panto. So what was your first panto? The
very first panto was the Golders Green Hippodrome, and that was with Barbara Windsor, Ed Stewpot Stewart. Remember Jackie Pallow? It wasn't his son. It was
the wrestler himself, Jackie Pallow. Yeah.
Bob Todd, for Benny Hill.
Benny Hill show, yeah.
And dear Bernard Breslau as well.
Wonderful
cast too. And I got a feeling there was that lovely lady who played Priscilla in it, the lady Kay Lyle.
Kay Lyle. I have actually in my store. I've got Kay Lyle's goose.
Get away.
Yeah, because I was looking after it. Strangely enough, Kay used to keep it in the bath. And she was a very little lady, as you remember.
Yes, that's right.
And she had a little bit of trouble getting it in and out the bath so that she could have a bath. So I said, well, Kay, why don't you let me look after it? And indeed, I've still got it there, bless her. She died about, must be about 10 years ago now.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, with Kayla.
Yes,
hadn't they?
lovely.
So we didn't ask what the pantomime was. It had to be Mother Goose. Right. And then after that, what was the next pantomime after Golden Green?
So after that, then I think it went up to Lincoln. Then, because that was they'd just taken over the theatre. This was, of course, being involved with Paul Elliott.
Right.
And in those days, it called E&B production.
E&B and
Duncan Weldon was involved,
of course,
as well. And they'd just taken over the Lincoln, the Royal Theatre at Lincoln, and we did a pantomime there. That was with Peter Byrne, who was the B.
The B of E&B. Yes, lovely Peter Byrne.
Peter Byrne, lovely.
He's also played my father.
Oh, really? Yes,
2 occasions.
Yes, that's right. Yes, he was a Baron Hard up then, of course. And it was Maynard Williams, of course, the son of Bill Maynard.
Of course.
He played the Prince, and then Michael Sharville Martin, who was with Dave Allen doing his
wonderful dame.
Lovely, great dame. And then, well, it was a lot other pantomime. I went and had a Torquay. That was with Ted Rogers. That again was Cinderella. He was playing Buttons.
And what did you play then? Were you brokers?
So I was, yes, I started off a broker's man. Yes, it was.
Actually, brokers men.
Brokers men, really.
Yes,
with the little turtle.
You and William Turtle.
That's right. And then we went to the Congress in Eastbourne. Because really, but they don't do pantomime anymore, do they?
And who was in the pantomime at Eastbourne?
Eastbourne. Well, it was Patrick Cargill. You remember Patrick Cargill?
Yes.
Father Dear Father.
Father Dear Father, a farce actor?
Yes, indeed. Excellent. And Mark Winter.
Yes.
Mark Winter. Donald Hewlett and Michael Knowles.
It ain't our fault, Mum.
That's right.
That's
lovely.
Right,
that was a very happy pantomime. And I remember Patrick used to live in a place called Uckfield.
Oh, right.
It had a lovely old Rolls Royce.
Oh yes. They used it in. I think they used it in the television series.
Oh really?
Yes, they incorporated his car into it. So
I didn't realise that.
Probably got a bit of payback for that as well.
Excellent. Yes.
And so that's Eastbourne.
That's Eastbourne.
Can you remember what was? I could never remember what follows what, but what? Do you remember what?
Well, it might not be in order, and I've got a feeling. Maybe gone up to Southport, at the New Theatre Southport.
The New Theatre Southport?
Yes, that was, I'm sure it's called the New Theatre Southport. It's on the front there. It was, one of these municipal places. And anyway, it was with Donna Stell and Windsor Davies.
Oh, so Age Our Hot Mum again, yeah.
And I bet Donald and Michael were in that one as well. I'm pretty sure they would have been.
Sounds likely.
Sounds like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Because you've also, I believe you worked with them at the Victoria Palace.
Yes, I did. Well, that's right. That's right. It was, and that was, it's a cracking bill. I'm just looking actually.
What was that? I can't remember the subject of the panto at the VP. Was it Mother Goose?
It was. Well, of course, it was John Inman. Well, it would have been then.
Yes, I think he was Mother Goose, wasn't it? And Arthur Lowe was in
Arthur Lowe, and it was, and Tommy Trinder.
Tommy Trinder
was in it.
Amazing man.
Ian Lavender.
Right.
And it was Irene Handel was in it, I remember.
So she was the fairy godmother?
Yes. No,
so
Mother
is it
Goose.
Cinderella or is it Mother Goose? Right, so many pantos, so many subjects. I definitely remember Irene Handel played fairy godmother.
Yeah, well, she was fairy godmother. I did a
John
couple with John.
Most likely it must have been Mother Goose.
Mother Goose, because then we did the Empire Theatre in Liverpool with John. It was Susan Moore.
That's a big theatre. Susan Moore would have been obviously Principal Boy.
Principal Boy, yeah, that's right, yeah. And then
yes, because Susan Moore often did pantomime with John Inman, of course.
Yes.
And the Demon...
Oh, wait, with Nicholas Brent.
Nicholas Brent.
Dear Nicholas. Yeah, always shared dressing rooms with Nick, and he was
a lovely man.
Lovely man. I mean, wonderful experience
that
he
had. Marvellous pantomimes to do.
And who was that? You must know this, Nigel. There was always a lovely Welsh lady that was with John. She used to be Princess So Shy.
I was going to say Sian.
Sian Phillips.
That's
right.
No, Sian Phillips is the actress. Sian Hopkins. Sian Hopkins, yes it was. You're right.
Yep, that's right.
And I believe, was she at the Victoria Palace as well?
I'm not sure.
Yes, I remember that was a team that went
yes,
round.
it
It was
was.
amazingly
And
wonderful pantomime.
yeah.
I saw it at Nottingham at the
right.
Theatre
I've
Royal.
never played Nottingham. And also in that one in Liverpool, it was Bill Waddington. He was in Coronation Street. During that time, I mean, he was in his 70s then, I reckon, and he really got a great big boost at the end of his career.
That's amazing.
He was because he was a great variety. He was called Witty Willie. I'm Witty Willie. He had played the ukulele.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and his song was I'm Witty Willie and I come from Lancashire.
Oh, with his ukulele. No, I never knew that.
Oh, I see.
You are a mine. A mine of variety information. What oddities have you done, by the way? I mean, like, we've all done, like, huge auditoriums or small theatres. Have you ever done anything like, I don't know, theatre in the round?
Yes, yes, I did.
Pantomime in the round.
Pantomime in the round. It was at Chichester.
Good Lord.
And that is, the name, what is the...
It's the Festival Theatre.
Festival, gosh, the Festival Theatre. And that was such that was with Bobby Davro and Anne Sidney.
Oh, right, as Principal Boy.
Principal Boy, and it was Dora Bryan. Bless her, she played Fairy Godmother. That was Cinderella.
Right.
And Raymar.
Oh, Raymar.
Dear Ray, because your friend...
my mate Ray from Home and Away.
And of course, Little Brian, we always call him Little Brian and Big Brian. Little Brian Godfrey.
Brian Godfrey and David Morton.
As the Uglies.
Wonderful.
There was fantastic.
That's a very posh venue to do.
It was very posh, and to be truthful, I don't think Chichester know what hit them.
Yes,
it was. I don't know if they did pantomime after that actually. But it was very strange doing it because we used to come up, you make your entrance from the auditorium. There were, you know, the
sort of. I think they call them voms, don't they? Voms, yeah.
And I think there's 4 of these voms, and you had to come up. And then, because you had to, being a visual with the turtle, you had to play it all the way around, because everybody was behind you, and literally it's behind you.
It's a good job you're a good ventriloquist, because you couldn't really stick Willie in front of your face.
No, that's right. No, that's true.
So
that was an interesting one.
I'm trying to think of the pantomimes that we did. We definitely did. I can remember doing Cardiff. I can remember doing Leeds. I remember we've done Southampton twice.
Now, can you remember? I was trying to think who was in the Cardiff one with us.
Dame Hilda Brackett.
Dame Hilda Brackett.
Fabulous.
That's right.
Patrick Fife. Yeah.
Patrick
Fabulous Fairy Godmother.
Frank
Hennessy was the local chap.
The local DJ, wasn't he?
And then there was somebody playing buttons. I can't really remember who that was.
No.
Oh gosh, yes, and we did.
Well, that's where I played buttons.
Oh, of course you did. You went on.
I went on
and played buttons
for
and Willie a couple of
Willie Company B. Yes,
he did.
Indeed. Yes, that's
so,
right.
Really, I mean, altogether, how many pantomimes do you think you've actually done?
I reckon. I think it's about 30 odd.
God.
It must be about
That's
30.
amazing.
Yes. But they've all and of course
what's the change? What is the change to you that you've noticed as you've sat there in rehearsal rooms and sat there in your dressing room? What's the change in pantomime since you started?
Well, I would say that I know they tradition is a word bandied around, but there's a lot of the story goes missing.
Right.
I find these days.
Which of course happened again in the 50s, didn't it? Because in the 50s the pop stars came along and the story sort of...
Yes.
Have you noticed the change from... I mean, were they mostly girls playing boys when you began?
They were, yes indeed. That was the thing with the Principal Boy.
I can't remember when it's quite a while since we saw Principal Boy in Miss Cinderella. Played by a girl.
When we were together, did we have a Principal Boy?
Yes, we did, because we would have had Caroline Dennis would have been our Principal Boy. We had, did you do the one with Jan Hunt?
You see, I never did,
Jan Principal Boy.
Because I know Gilly Foote we were with together. That was at Wimbledon.
And of course you said you'd worked with Anne Sidney, who was one of the finest Principal Boys.
Yes,
that's the change I've noticed. And I suppose... when you started doing pantomimes, did you see more speciality acts around?
Yes, I think there were. There were a lot more. Of course, there were the balancing acts too.
Oh,
the
right.
acromaniac. Well, I worked with them. We did the pantomime. Well, that was the one up in the Palace Theatre with Michael Barrymore.
Oh,
We did that at the
Opera House.
At the Opera House, and that was with Peggy Mount.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Cinderella Company. This is your half-hour call. You have 30 minutes. Thank you.
I mean, that's a very theatrical
That's-
moment, isn't it?
isn't it?
Theatrical. We've got half an hour.
Half an hour. And that was with Jessica Martin. Do you remember?
Oh yes, Jessica Martin,
the
of course.
impressionist.
Impressionist,
Did all the
yeah.
impressions. Did Norman Collier.
Norman Collier with his budgie.
His budgie. And then I'd said Bernard. Did I say Bernard Breswell was
Oh,
in that
Bernard
one?
Breswell,
Bernard
right.
was as well. And a guy called Dougie Small.
Dougie Small, yes.
He won, I think, New Faces or something like
Yeah.
that. One of these things. And again, I'm sure we had the principal boy in that one actually. And perhaps it was Gillyfoot again, I think, in that one.
So you've worked with Bernard Breslau at least, I think, three
Three
times.
times because I worked with him also in Richmond, the Richmond Theatre, and we did with Eunice Stubbs.
Oh,
bless, that was lovely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, you have really played major pantomimes with all
Well,
the
I've been
stars
very
that
lucky.
were...
Yes, I have been very, very lucky with the people that I've been working with. Well, with you, of course. I mean,
Well,
so, you
goes
and Peter.
without
I mean,
saying.
That's the height of my career.
The height
so
of your
far.
career.
Yes.
It's what you look forward
That's
to.
right.
But of course, I forget, you see, that you're no longer a resident of this fair isle, are you?
No, that's true.
Where do you live now?
Well, we live now in Spain, on the Costa Blanca.
How
But we've been there for about 5 years and love it, absolutely
And
love it.
do you have a pool for Willie to swim in?
Yes,
and things
that's
like
right.
that?
Yes, oh yes,
Yeah.
he has to have his
Oh,
pool.
he must, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
But of course, Willie isn't the only puppet that you've got with you at the moment. You've got another one.
I do. In this one I've got Big Bad Bruce, which is the 7-foot kangaroo.
7-foot kangaroo.
He
And
makes the
how... do you take a seat on the plane for Bruce?
Yes, he has to have a seat.
His own separate
His own
seat, right? He
separate
probably
seat.
goes in first class.
Yeah, of course, yes,
And you,
yes.
yeah,
And
you travel.
yeah.
But and what do you to sum it up really?
Yeah.
What do you think are the necessary things, the ingredients as a performer? What are the things that you need to have to do pantomime?
Well, I think you've got to be dedicated. You've got to take it seriously. That's what I hate about. You see so many. I shouldn't say amateur pantomime, but pantomimes, they don't take it seriously. They muck around.
Right.
And they ad-lib all over the place. You've got to really. It is an art form.
Yes.
And again, it makes me so mad. On television, you get these arty-farty people saying, oh, they poo-poo pantomime. But it's blooming hard work. You've got to work very, very hard at it. You've got to believe in what you're doing, and you've got to give 150% every time.
Well, yeah. What advice would you give to someone who says, I'm going to start, I'm going to do my first pantomime? What do you think they're going to need?
Well, I'd say a lot of stamina.
Stamina, yeah, absolutely.
A lot of stamina. And they've got to be open to all sorts of houses that you've got to play to. I mean, at the end of the run, sometimes you might be playing to a house full of, shall we say, seniors.
Right, or another one could be full of children.
Full of children.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done that here.
We have indeed,
We've had a packed audience full of school children.
So stamina, they need the ability to adapt.
Yes.
And as you were saying, to take it seriously,
Take it
because
seriously,
it's
yes.
not a joke, is
No,
it?
not at all.
It doesn't
No.
feel like a joke at the moment.
We've done that. How many weeks? 16 weeks.
Yeah, we're now very proudly celebrate. We've taken £2 million, have we not,
Right,
at the
have,
box
Nigel,
office.
yes, we have, yeah.
So I
That
know
is a record, that, isn't it?
it is a
Apparently,
record.
in the whole of pantomime history, they
I
say.
don't know about the whole of pantomime history. I deny that because, of
Yes.
course, the Palladium and those long-running pantomimes would have taken an awful lot of money. But for today, at this present moment, because there are no London pantos apart from obviously the Hackney Empire and things like that. But
Is a Wimbledon still going?
Wimbledon, but not central London.
No,
There's no pantomime in the heart of the West End,
No, there isn't, no.
which is such a shame.
Yes. Although saying that, Nigel, when I did pantomime, it wasn't a pantomime audience I found. When I played the Victoria pantomime, it was a jolly hard audience to play.
And big coach party audience, I would think,
Yes,
as well.
exactly. Yes, a lot of those. But it wasn't the same atmosphere. It's like playing...
No, in the provinces, because
somehow.
you just get there's a better feel to it somehow.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so stamina, honesty, and the ability to be... We'll have done, what, 71 shows by the time we finish.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I've noticed it with the feet.
Yes, that's true.
And,
well, I've noticed it with the voice.
With the voice.
The voice.
Well, on that note, we'd better do our vocal warm-up.
Indeed, yes.
And thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you very much indeed.